Well, we're all here today to really hear your thoughts about how we put this in practice, because obviously, you know, if we read about these things in theory, when you're back at school and you've got the teachers that you've got and you want to take them forward, where do we start? And particularly I'm interested in the idea of where the chicken and egg, of when you want to raise the bar and have a higher threshold for getting teachers into the profession, but at the same time a shortage of teachers. How do we square those two challenges?
Well, when thanks for that. When I live in America now, of course, but in coming back to England at this moment in education, I feel somewhat as if England is the Wild West of Europe, basically, in terms of educational change. There are so many different pathways into teaching now. There are teaching schools, there are traditional university provision, there's troops into teaching, there's teach first. There seems to be any and every way that you can go in. There are many kinds of schools. There's regular local authority schools, there's free schools, there's academies. The curriculum seems to change almost on a weekly basis in terms of what will be in, what will be out of the national curriculum. Ofsted redefines its definitions of outstanding. Floor targets change. So sometimes it really feels like the Wild West, and the response to that sometimes...
The cowboys.
Well, it's a cowboy and cowgirl culture, actually. Sometimes the response to that is defensive or depressing or woe is me, or how are we going to cope with all this? And I think what SSAT has always done uniquely is it's not represented one particular group or set of interests, but it's tried to bring professionals together of all kinds, in good times and bad, to find your own space in the midst of all this, to remind yourselves of who you are, children first, for example, of what you're about as professionals, and of how to move forward. So as I've been listening to delegates on the stage and around the building here, some of the things that come out are first of all, you come here to remind yourselves you're not crazy. So when Guy Claxton talks, some people are already doing dispositional approaches to teaching and learning. When John Hattie comes up on the screen, there are schools who are using John Hattie's frameworks. The other Hargreaves, who is not here today, he probably calls me the other Hargreaves. I don't know how else to call him. But you know, many have talked about the deeps that you're using, and some of it, doesn't have a name. But as Vicky Patterson talked about Michael Wilkins at the end, it's just plain common sense in terms of what you need to turn around a school. And so many of you come here just to realize it's okay, I'm not crazy. Some of you come and you realize, I hear that there are abiding questions about what do we do when we've got new teachers? What do we do with existing teachers who resist change? Well, one of the best questions I got that always comes up, what if it's my head who's resisting change?
What did you say?
What do I do if my head's... Well, I said one of the hardest things about leadership is that... it could be you. I don't know if he was talking about you, actually.
Could have well been.
But one of the hardest things about leadership always is managing up. And everybody has to manage up. And you think, when I get to be a head, I won't have to manage up anymore. But then you've got the governing body or the local authority or the owners of the chain or whoever it might be. So some of these things are abiding questions that will always go on and always need discussion and insight.
In your book, you talk about the importance of not disparaging the profession and talking up the profession as something which we can all be responsible for, and making teaching the job we all know it to be a fantastically rewarding profession. And if we had a greater surplus of people coming into the profession, we might be able to get towards what Tim Oates was talking about in terms of restriction at the front end. Do you think how far do you think we can go with that in terms of lifting the profession overall?
I think lifting a profession is exactly the same as lifting kids. You will not raise the standard of achievement by lowering the quality of expectation and believing more children will pass if we expect less of them. And I think if we raise the standard of teaching, not just in terms of the qualifications on paper, but if from, as all high-performing countries do, including Korea and Singapore and Finland, if from the very top you say, we want the highest quality people coming into the profession, we will pay them so that it is not a disincentive. They will have enjoyable, stimulating, highly respected work. They will have time in the school day to observe and to work with their colleagues. When they meet together, they'll not only be looking at spreadsheets or thinking what their red, amber, green situation is, though that's part of it, but they'll have powerful conversations with colleagues about how to improve teaching and learning for the students that they share in common together. So raising the quality is not just about changing the size of the gate and the qualification standard that you need, but it's really about rhetorically talking up teachers and teaching and what teachers do and why this country needs them for its future at every single level.
Well, I think that's probably a good place to end. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.